Welcome to our second session on layer masks. Here we will learn how to apply layer masks to our photography. For this lesson, you should have two photos opened, Heron 1 and photo titled Heron 2. So basically what we have here is I have my first photo, Heron 1, which we have a heron flying along the water. And what I'm just going to do, just for purposes that you can see how we can adapt masks to our photo, is I'm going to take Heron 2 and I'm going to place it on Heron 1. So let's drag out a marquee of this heron. I'm going to drag this out here like this. I'm going to make a little marquee selection of this heron. Now I'd like you to follow along and do this as well. So once I've made the selection, I'm going to copy it by going Control C, or you can go up into your edit and do copy. And then we're going to come over into our other photo, and this is already a copy of a photo that I've made, so if you haven't done that already, you can duplicate the photo. So now I'm going to paste it in. You can go Edit, Paste, or Control V, and now I have my second layer, or my second heron. Notice that my cursor is still a square, so if I go to move this photo, I'm actually going to draw my rectangle, which I don't want to do. So I got to deselect this layer by coming up here and saying Select, Deselect, or I can go Control D. And to move this layer, I have to go over to my Move tool, shortcut V, and now I can move this wherever I want it. So as you can see, we have two layers, our background layer and our let's layer 1, but let's call it Heron 2. So just by clicking on that title, we can rename it. So we have Heron 2 and background. So now I want to put both of these herons in the same photo. But in order to do that, you see it's pretty obvious and it looks kind of silly. So what I want to do here is I want to hide the area around this heron. So as we learned in our previous video, we're going to apply a layer mask. So how do we do that? Layer, new adjustment layer. Pick any of these, it doesn't matter which one. We'll say OK. And I'm going to close the adjustment down here because I don't really need it. Now, step 2, remember we must drag this layer underneath the layer that we want to attach it to. Now we have to clip the two layers together, so we can hold down our Alt key and place our cursor in between the two layers until we get this icon. And we click, and now we have clipped our layers together. So you see our layer mask thumbnail is white, so it's revealing the entire layer. So we can see everything on the layer. So we want to hide this layer. So right now our color swatch shows black in the foreground. If yours doesn't, hit the D on your keyboard for default colors, and then you should have your color as black. If it turns out to be white like this, you just click this little button in between or select X on your keyboard and it'll swap. So just look at your color swatches. I hit X, it goes white to black. I hit X, it goes black to white, and we're good to go. So now I need a brush tool. So let me select a brush tool. See what size I got here. I'm going to make that bigger just by using my right bracket key, and I'm going to paint over this layer now, and I'm going to hide whatever is on this layer. And notice as I do that, you're going to see black up on the thumbnail over on the right hand side. So see the black? I'm hiding this part of the layer. So I'm just going to paint around here and get rid of all this. I'm kind of going to try and do it quickly here. And I'm going to go like this and come close. So now as I get in smaller, I got to closer, I got to go smaller. So I hit my left bracket key and I go over this. So I don't quite like the softness of this brush, so I'm going to go shift right bracket key, and that's going to make it a little bit harder. And I'm going to get in a little bit closer. I'm going to get a smaller brush though and get in close right here and in around the edge of the head. So you see what I'm doing. I'm just kind of trying to paint this over a little bit. Alright, but there we go. The only problem is I've kind of taken a bit of the beak out and the bottom wing. So now instead of having to do the whole thing over, all I have to do is switch my color swatches up here with X, and I just got to paint over the head with white. And now I revealed what I want to reveal. So I'm going to go back over this because make this even a little bit smaller, so I'm just getting the tail here, or the feet actually. And then I'm going to come down on the wing and I'm going to reveal that completely. There we go. And again, a rough idea, but so now we have two herons. If I wanted to come in here now and I could flatten this or merge them together, or I could crop. Oh, I don't want to do it like that. Cancel. Let's see. I want to. I'm going to crop. No restriction. I'm just going to go like this. I accept that. And there we have a totally different photo. Looks like we have two herons flying along. So that's one use of your layer mask. Very neat. The fact that it's non-destructive, you can change your white to black and paint, reveal it or hide it at any time, really adds a lot to the repertoire of editing. So I'm going to close out this photo. Don't save that. And I'm going to minimize the heron photo. And I'm going to show you another way which we can use the layer mask. So now I want you to open a photo called Baby Jack. So we're going to take this picture of Baby Jack, and I'm just going to show you a little technique that works quite well while using layer masks. So the first thing we're going to do with this photo is, well, we can duplicate it. Let's do that. File, duplicate, as we should always do that. So we got a copy made. Okay, I'll get rid of my original and double click the hand tool and we're set to go. So I'm going to duplicate this layer. So I want this entire photo to be duplicated. So if you remember, we can just go Control J or Command J on a Mac, and we have our duplicate layer. So what I'm going to do to this layer is, you're going to think it's a little bit strange at first, and why would I do that, is I'm going to add a filter to it. So I'm going to go up to Filter, I'm going to come down to Blur, and I'm going to pick something called Gaussian Blur. And I'm going to totally blur up this photo right here. I'm going to put it up a little bit higher than this. Maybe right there. Okay, so around 14-ish. Okay, so now I got this photo totally blurred. But don't worry, you'll see what we're going to do shortly. So now I want to get a layer mask. So I'm going to go to my create a new adjustment layer, and again it doesn't matter what one, so I'm going to say, oops, I don't want the pattern one. I guess it does matter what one. So I want to go to create new layer. We'll go to brightness, close out the brightness tab. Okay, so we got our adjustment layer, so we're ready for our mask, but remember we must bring down our adjustment layer so that it's below the layer we want to adjust. And what I would like to do now is I would like, I have to click my layers together, so Alt click in between the two layers, so we see that by the arrow that we have two of the layers are clipped together. So now I'm going to go up to my marquee tool up here, and I'm going to take a rectangular marquee, and hopefully you're following along with me as we do this, and I'm going to make a marquee tool just a little bit bigger than Jack's head. I'm going to move that up a little bit with my arrows. Okay, and now what I'm going to do is while I'm on my layer mask, I'm going to get my paint brush, so B for brush. I need to make sure I'm on my black swatch over here, so I gotta X or hit the switch button. And I'm going to come in here, make my brush a bit bigger, and I'm going to start painting. So what am I doing? I am taking or hiding this layer that we've blurred, and I'm showing the layer underneath it. So here we go. And because I've got a selection, I can come way outside with my brush and try and paint, but it's only going to paint inside my selection. So now to get rid of this, I can do two things. I can go up to Select, Deselect, or Control D. And now I've made my picture blurry except for just on his face, where we actually would like it to be a little bit sharp. But let's look down right here in this area right here. I'm going to zoom in on this a bit. So if you look down here, this we don't actually want to be, we would prefer that to be blurry. So let's go back to our brush. Let's reduce the size a little bit. And we need to swap so that we're painting with white. And now I'm going to go back over this so that this is not too sharp. Now, of course, I would do a much better, cleaner job on this if I wasn't trying to go through it quickly. And maybe I want his hair up here to be a little bit more sharp, so I can switch my tool to black. And now if I paint over it with black, this is gonna be sharp. All his hair, let's just go around his hair for now, and his ear, and okay. Oh, maybe I didn't really want all that up there because the blanket is being revealed. So let's go back to the white, hit my X button, go back to the white, and so I can paint according to how I would like it. So even just for demonstration purposes, let's go down where his hand is. If I switch to black, it's very obvious if I paint over this, the change in the blur. I'm going to undo that, Control Z, and then I'm going to zoom back out, fit to screen, and there you have it. Certainly a different way that you can edit your portraits. You got to be careful how you to make sure that you get the right areas blurred, or maybe you don't have to blur it so much. You can control that for sure and play around with it. But the whole purpose of this was to understand another way in which you can use the layer mask. And finally, I'm going to close this picture. We're going to open a photo called Barn, and we're going to make some adjustments to this. So what I'm going to do is create a little frame for this photo. So I'm going to add a new layer. Click the new layer button. I'm already on white, So I'm going to take my paint bucket, K, and I'm going to fill that layer with white. So as you probably guessed, I'm going to now add a new adjustment layer. Anyone? I'm going to drag my adjustment layer down below my white layer, or layer 1. I'm going to click them together, Alt click, and now I'm going to take a paintbrush, B for brush, and I'm going to go really big. I'm going to get on the black and I'm going to reveal a good portion of this photo here. Only a little bit in the middle. And now what I want to do is I'm going to come up and I'm going to take a different brush. I'm going to go into my brushes and I'm going to just look at this faux finish brushes. And I'm going to take this brush is called Stencil Sponge Wet Brush. So I'm just going to show you how this works. It kind of gives it a little bit of a different look to it. I can make it a little bit bigger. So now okay, now as I come down here, I don't want everything to be the same, so I might want to rotate my brush. So I'm going to go hit the brush up on the option bar, and I'm just going to rotate it around this way. Oh wait, why is this not rotating? Oh, that's why. Okay, here we go. I'll rotate it like this, so now it looks a bit different. And you can come in here and give it a totally different look on the, you can drag it, or let's find another brush. What's this one here called? Plastic wrap. Hey, let's try it. Make it a lot bigger. So you can see how you can do different things with this layer mask, and you can be very creative. I'm just dragging it here now in the area. If I drag over it a couple times, it's going to reveal the whole thing, but if I just drag it quickly, it only reveals part of the photo underneath. In order to get all of it, you got to drag over it a bunch of times. So just another way that you can be very creative with layer masks. And if you look over at the layer mask, most of it is all black, so it's hiding that white layer, and then you'll see some of the white along the edge. So you can get pretty creative in making different frames by experimenting with the various brushes, and like, sky's the limit with this. Have fun.